Welcome to the live stream that we'll have each Wednesday night for a period of time. And it's really my favorite night of the week. The chance that I have to answer questions and interact with the class. Now, do understand that this live stream is also open to others if they want to join. And I have had previous class members come to a different class's live stream because it's been just a chance for them to expand their knowledge on blockchain and what's going on. So it's fun for them. It's fun for me to see the older students and so forth. Now, like the message that was put on the screen from Pharos Blockchain and Cryptocurrency, which is my YouTube channel for blockchain. Notice that it did say to post your name. If your username is not your real name, then tell Jan Severin is so and so, because Jan Severin is my associate here that's in the room, managing all the technology for us, making sure that it all works and we're doing good. Okay, so. Looks like we got 9 people online. I'm hopeful that we get at least a majority of the class here, because at this point there are 25 people in this class. What I hope to see is a good majority of them in the class, because this is attendance at the class is 30% of your total grade. In other words, it's important to be here because we talk about critical topics. We ask questions and I answer questions. I do see that there were 14 people at least in the lobby waiting. So hopefully the other 5. Okay, I'm going to go change.
Yes. It looks like audio was cut for a moment. It should be back now.
Okay, can everybody hear me now? Lost audio here too. Okay. That is great that you're keeping me informed. My glasses need changing. I'm going to go off camera for just a moment and change my glasses.
Good, audio is back. That would be my mistake.
Okay, we don't allow mistakes here.
Yes, sir.
Every student has to have perfect A's, including you. Anyway, I like joking around. So what happened was that I had my computer glasses on, which make it difficult to read across the room to see what the text stream is doing. So I couldn't see the fact that somebody couldn't hear. So I don't know exactly what. Sound is gone. Lost the sound. Just okay. I wish there was a time stamp for each person's post. You know,
See if we can do that.
that would be nice if we could do that. That way I can kind of see when the sound went out and where I might have been at the time. So, last I heard was you hoped the majority would attend the session. After that, it was all quiet. Okay. All right. Thanks, Esteban. I appreciate the side post. Excuse me. That wasn't cool. Okay, Robert, let's go into our first subject. All right. Now I'm on split screen mode. I'll put me in the corner. The screen above is the content of what we're going to talk about today. Now, if you ask more questions and I don't get to the bottom of my list, we'll still stop at about 6 o'clock, okay? I promise not to keep you more than the hour so that everybody can, get on to their business they've planned for the night. So what we cover is what we cover. I'll just push any subject we don't cover on into next week and we'll add topics on it. And in other words, I'm flexible. I don't have a specific agenda that has to be accomplished every night, okay? Okay, Andrew Lewis is here too. I got 21 out of 25 people. I'd say we're doing pretty good if that's the case. All right, so let's talk first of our first topic. And our first topic is Hollywood. Everybody likes to watch a good movie. In fact, last night I got my copy of the Top Gun Maverick, and I enjoyed watching that last night. So I enjoy a good movie. And part of the challenge in Hollywood, as some of you may or may not feel, I don't know, but sometimes you kind of wonder why they produce the content that they do. And a lot of times it's because the people with the money get to make the movies. And so the people with the money get to make the movies, and the people that with the money get to hire the people that they want. So a lot of times you've got this subculture in Hollywood of the A-list actors, the one that all the money people go after to make their big blockbuster movies. And then you have the B-list actors and actresses that go after all the other stuff. You've got your Christian movies, and you've got your adventure movies, and you've got your docudramas and documentaries, and people find their niche and work in various areas of Hollywood. But the big money follows the blockbuster movies, and they're kind of in a small genre of what'll attract large audiences. Well, what if you have a subject you really, really are passionate about and you want to do, but it's not going to bring hundreds of thousands of people to the box office and be able to pay a huge, huge budget? Well, the big money people aren't interested in you, and that can create a problem. So blockchain is actually being thought of as a potential contributor to help solve that problem. And so what I'd like to do is talk about this article here, Breaking the Chain, how blockchain is sponsoring more equity and transparency in Hollywood. Now, the equity part is having more movies that talk about various subjects and different subjects. Transparency, of course, is a lot in the way the actors and actresses get paid and the honesty with which they're paid. So I'm going to scroll down here, so just bear with me as I scroll down. It says, okay, start with transparency and ownership. If you write a script, you want to get paid for it. If you write a script, second part, you don't want somebody else to steal it, use it, and get paid for it and leave you out in the cold. So part of what blockchain does is it creates an immutable record of the data that is on it. And if you have a blockchain that is just specifically for scripts and maybe some other rules on how you get paid for scripts, who can use it, who owns the copyright, who gets to drill in and actually use it or modify it. If you have it on a blockchain, it creates an immutable record of that ownership. And so they're looking now to blockchain as a way to stop the court disputes between producers and directors, or between studios and actors. It's usually about ownership and compensation issues. So what they want to do is get out of court, so to speak. A lot of money is wasted, and a lot of the reason why these big budget films have to be larger budgets than necessary is simply because of the contingency for litigating problems that may arise later on when they have to go to court. So hopefully that'll help, reduce the amount of disputes. The next thing is transparency and financial compensation. Now, we've talked a little bit about the financial compensation for the script writing, but that's also the financial compensation when it comes to who gets paid for what, based on how successful the movie is, how many screens it shows in front of, how much they get off of each DVD or Blu-ray that is sold, how much they get from each streaming event when Netflix streams it, or another streaming service streams the particular movie. How much do the people who own the movie and acted in the movie get paid? So usually what happens is compensation goes down a ways, and at some point somebody gets bent out of shape because they don't feel the other side is reporting all the revenue or reporting all of the data that's associated with how they get compensated in their contracts. So you have a picture of the lawyers running to court back in the time when we were wearing masks for COVID. But see, what blockchain has is a thing called smart contracts. In the Ethereum blockchain and some other lesser known blockchains, there are smart contracts that in this case would take the information that's on the contract between the producer and the actor. It would indemnify them in writing, and you'd test that smart contract to make sure that when you put in the amount of revenue earned at the movie theater box office, you put in the amount of revenue earned from DVD sales or from streaming services or from contracts that you get let out for the movie to appear on Netflix exclusively, or all of those type of nuances in a contract. You put that in a pre-agreed set of terms that are set up in the smart contracts. And once they're in the blockchain, as long as everybody along the way, like the movie theaters are putting in their information, the DVD or Blu-ray resellers are putting in their information, everybody that's a participant in the blockchain puts in their information, the smart contract is automatically invoked, and in each situation then a check gets cut to the actors or actresses, people who participated and have a residual type of compensation that's supposed to come from the movie. So with those kind of agreements, it can keep people out of court and cut down the number of disputes about the actor compensation. Now, let's get to the big one, the one that I like the most. In italics up there it says, who pays the piper dictates the tune. Well, here's those big money people. Whoever actually has the big money gets to make their movies. Those people who don't have enough money to fund it don't get the movies made, or they get shut down because a particular person with money says, nah, I don't want to make that movie. So what you've got here is decentralized movie funding done out of a blockchain. There's a company called Dream Frames that has actually created a decentralized funding process in a blockchain for movies, so people can invest in a type of movie or a movie and be able to buy a piece of it, okay? And they can actually invest in it and fund it. So maybe some Christian movies don't get funded really well, and they can put it on the blockchain because the producers don't have big, deep pockets. It could be that somebody wants to do a documentary on a certain subject or push research on a particular issue. And without being able to fund it, they can't get it off the ground. So these kind of people may go to a company like DreamFrames and says, let's put our venture on the blockchain. And you've got a situation a lot like GoFundMe that people can contribute to certain projects. And with those certain projects, they're able to go forward with their project after they get the kind of funds that they need in order to get it moving. So here we've got a situation where the creative process of Hollywood can help to be better diversified in the amount of content they put out and the types of content they put out, because people can get funding that they couldn't get before. They have the ability to stay out of court by putting their terms of their contracts on a blockchain and have the smart contracts execute those contracts on an automatic and an ongoing basis. A lot of good can be done in Hollywood and in the entertainment industry by doing blockchain within that particular industry. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is ask, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Go ahead and hit like if you end up liking the video, but also we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to do some things with the hardware here, and I'm going to come back in 2 minutes. If you have questions about what I talked about here, put it in the chat. And when I come back, I'll make sure I look at those, and we'll answer any of those questions. Okay? See you in about 2 minutes. Well, the first thing.
Let's start again because I didn't unmute you. New system, guys. Thanks for being patient.
All right. Well, Paige asks, we'll repeat, we're taking, if someone were to put their project on the blockchain, how would people know how to contribute? How would they be able to contribute? Like, how would they know it's there and where to put the funds? Well, currently, like with a GoFundMe type page, you usually advertise to the people that you usually converse with and work with, okay? And that wouldn't change. You would just you would send them to a web page instead of the GoFundMe page. You would send them to a web page. There would be an interface to the blockchain. And realistically, when you look at blockchain applications, they look normal as far as the user interface. And most of the time, they're a web type of front-end interface. So they would be able to contribute basically the same exact way. They would take credit cards. They would take coin if they wanted to, like Bitcoin or Ethereum or some other coin that has value, or you'd put in your debit card or even your bank account. The same funding ways there. So the technology really is very much the same as you would find in any front-end website. Okay. So will these live streams remain on your channel for later review? The answer to that question is yes. What happens is we take the raw blockchain feed and we leave it up there. And the link that you're getting into it today is the same as the link that you would use to come review it later. Okay? So that's the answer to that. But during that week, what my assistant does, the person that's responding to with Pharos blockchain and cryptocurrency up there, what he does is he takes and chops it up into bite-sized pieces. Like he'll put a video up on the Breaking the Chain, the Hollywood one. He's going to put that and make that one video and put it on the site. So he'll chop up each of the subjects we actually talk about, as well as putting up the entire hour presentation that we do. Okay, so that was Esteban that asked that. And Vanessa, what are your go-to resources for the most current articles about blockchain? That is a very, very good question. I read a lot on, what channel is it? I've had this channel on my my startup list for so long, I've forgotten what, I think it's crypto.com or something like that. But generally when I prepare for a case study for like tonight, what I do is I go to Google and I just Google, blockchain news. Those are the two words I use. And I just sift through the blockchain news. And there are some blockchain news aggregators. Now, what you have to watch out for is what they do when you say blockchain news is they give you cryptocurrency news. So it's kind of hard to get good information on blockchain news. Blockchain in business or business uses of blockchain would be two other good search routines to use. Okay. Which country is the most advanced in blockchain and why? Well, Israel. Israel is by far the biggest user right now of Bitcoin. They have Bitcoin ATMs. They have Bitcoin being exchanged directly among the populace. It's very well adopted there. Second is the European Union. The European Union has taken to Bitcoin in a big, big way. So while in the U.S., basically, we see an awful lot of regulation and a lot of the regulatory engines like the FCC and so forth against blockchain, so they're restricting its use. You see a lot less restriction over in the EU and in Israel. So don't know why it took off so much there, but that's where it's the big deal.
El Salvador?
El Salvador actually uses Bitcoin for their main currency. They adopted Bitcoin totally lock, stock, and barrel. So instead of using the U.S. dollar, which was kind of a strange move, they decided to adopt Bitcoin as their national currency. So, there are countries that are slowly adopting and doing it in a big way. So Paige said, are there still Bitcoin ATMs? Are there still Bitcoin ATMs in the U.S.? Remember, I used one back in 2016 in Colorado. Don't know if they're still around. I have seen them. I've heard of them in places, but I haven't actually seen one myself. I know that that coin vendor where you'd put in your coins and stuff, they used to let you transfer it to a Bitcoin wallet rather than give you just dollars or put it in your account. You could give them a Bitcoin address also. Andrew says Mid Rivers Mall has one. That'd be a good place to look. Yeah. I haven't been in the Mid Rivers Mall in quite some time. Just don't go in malls very often anymore. It's just not the thing to do anymore. So, all right, that takes care of our questions for the moment. Let's go ahead and switch over to the split screen, and I'll talk about our next subject. What I want to do is talk about stable coins, because what's happening right now is that there's this big debate. We had the Terra US dollar coin just crash. It was pegged at $1 and it ended up crashing. So what I want to do is talk about what stable coins are. And what you'll see is I'm talking about stable coins because I'm taking this and moving forward in the topic to two other topics that hopefully will put it kind of a full picture on what a stable coin is. So stable coins are cryptocurrencies, okay, which means there's some risk, but the stable coins advertise themselves as being pegged to a certain other coin, like the US dollar or the euro or the British pound, okay? So you'll have a US dollar stable coin and you'll have a British pound stable coin. And they're called various things. There's several names for them. So that's the first definition. Now, how do they stay equal to the dollar? In other words, they fluctuate with the market. In other words, they're traded on the market against other currencies all the time. And what you'll do is, like, for example, if you go and look at USD, the USD coin, USDC, if you watch that coin, every once in a while you'll see it go up to 1.01 and down to 0.99. So you can see that it's fluctuating a little bit in the band. And so it makes you kind of wonder, well, why isn't it just always $1? Well, the reason why is there's several different ways that they peg the coins. Now, first off, most of the time they're fiat-backed coins. So let's learn the term fiat here. Fiat is the kind of dollar that the US dollar is. In other words, we have a central bank in the United States called the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve, expands or contracts the money supply based on what the economic winds are doing right then. Like right now, they're contracting the money supply and raising interest rates in order to try to rein in inflation. That is what they call a fiat currency, because the amount of currency at any one time is flexible. In other words, by fiat, they say so therefore it is. Okay, so fiat currencies are regular currencies issued by central banks. The dollar, the British pound, the euro are three good examples. Fiat-backed stable coins are Tether, Binance USD, which the call name on that one would be BUSD, USD coin, which is USDC, which I already highlighted a little bit. Basically, the Binance US dollar coin is traded on the Binance marketplace. Now, Binance is kind of like a bank, kind of like the New York Stock Exchange at the same time. They trade coins back and forth. You can buy coin there. You can then trade it for other coins. You can trade in your coins after you transfer your coin to them. Okay, Coinbase is another one. And Coinbase is the leader of the US dollar coin, so USDC. So you got BUSD and USDC, led by the two largest coin exchanges in the world. So Binance and Coinbase are the two largest in the world. So, but there's no real consistency at this point as to how they're managed. So let's scroll on down here. So there's some that say that they're cryptocurrency-backed coins. Now, cryptocurrency-backed coins is a coin that's backed by another coin. So you've got what they call a wrapped Bitcoin, and I don't really have any clue why these exist. They don't really make sense to me to have a coin on the Ethereum blockchain that tries to mimic the price of the Bitcoin on the Bitcoin blockchain. Not quite sure why they would do that, but that is what they call the wrapped Bitcoin. So they're kind of odd. There's another one called RenBTC or RenBitcoin. So the cryptocurrency-backed stablecoins are kind of funky. Not quite sure why they exist, really. Now there's asset-backed Bitcoin. Fiat Bitcoins aren't the only off-chain assets. In other words, fiat currency isn't the only thing backing a Bitcoin or a stable coin. You can have real estate, you can have debt from corporations, you can have bonds and stocks that are listed as the backup to these stable coins. And so what you've got is risk on risk. The stable coins have enough risk in themselves, but the asset-backed stable coins usually end up having even more risk because the things backing them can go up and down and fluctuate. So that's not cool. So one thing that they talk about here is that some Paxos gold is backed by actual gold. Okay. There's a coin called Tether Gold that's also backed by gold. So they're not always backed just by a fiat currency that's off-chain. They can be backed by other commodities off-chain as well. Now here we come to the big boy. Most of them are what they call algorithmic stablecoins. In other words, they've got a mathematical algorithm that forces the coin to be pushed down or pushed up in value depending on the volatility in the market. So if there's a lot of trading and let's say they're selling a lot of the USD coin, the algorithm in the background will also then buy into that market so that it keeps the coin at $1. If there's a lot of buying and it would normally send the price up, the algorithm then pulls more coin out of circulation so that it rests back down. So the algorithm actually works to balance the trades so that there's no excess supply or excess demand so that it pushes the price around. Now, the challenge with that is that if there's a high amount of volatility in the market, it can still affect the price. Luna is the one that was in the news recently because it fell 94% in one day. So basically it fell from $1 to 6 cents. And it did it in the matter of about 30 minutes. And so it was incredibly painful for them because basically they couldn't get it pegged back up. They didn't have the assets behind them to run the algorithm to get it pegged back up at $1. So there was not any way that it could be saved. So everybody who had the Terra Luna lost. They just lost their $1 for every coin that they had. So the problem is that stable coins are generally undercapitalized. The complaint about Tether has always been that they won't let themselves be audited to find out how much money is actually backing the Tether stablecoin. So Tether is out there reporting that it's a stablecoin pegged to the dollar, but they won't tell us how many dollars are actually in their bank to back it should there be a run on Tether. So if there's a run on Tether and it's only 50% collateralized, the person that wants to sell off the 51st percentage is going to get no value for their Tether. So that is the biggest challenge with stable coins is, number one, they're hard to audit, and number two, a lot of times they're backed with things that are just as risky as the stable coin is that you're buying. So I I think that pretty much puts an end on stablecoins. I hope you've enjoyed this, and hit the subscribe button, the like button, do what you can to help support the channel, and we'll come back after another little break. All right, hopefully you can hear me. Yes? Sound on? Okay. There we go. Now, we did end up with two questions. Andrew, during the last one about stablecoins, asked, what's the purpose of a stablecoin? And he asked, is it to generate capital and funds? And would you compare it to covered outs? I imagine that's puts and calls, basically. And no to either question. Generally, they're used to run to safety when the market gets a little bit too scary, when it gets a little bit too volatile, because the volatility basically, when it's going down, you have quick access to getting into a stable coin. It's harder if those stable coins weren't there. It would be a lot harder to cash out your coins and put it in your bank, and then take it from your bank and put it back into stable coins. So I know with Coinbase happens to be where I do my trading. If it gets just a little bit too volatile for my health, or my for my health, basically, I just push it into a stable coin and let it rest there until the market decides to calm down a little bit. Has any country banned cryptocurrencies, and why? Vanessa, you ask a good question, because yes, if you can still hear me, there we go. They're connected again. Okay.
Iris says I was excited for that one too.
I was excited about that one too. Okay.
Should be good.
Okay. So we were talking about banned cryptocurrency and why. And the country, China, has banned cryptocurrency as well as cryptocurrency mining within its borders. And that was, I suppose, more because they wanted to get rid of cryptocurrency competition to their digital yuan. They want their people to be invested only in their currency and not in any others. They don't want the yuan leaving the borders of China either, unless it's being legitimately traded for commodities and products. It's a control issue. They're definitely not a democratic society, of course. They're really not much of a capitalist society either in that regard. Their monetary policy is run very, very strangely when you compare it to other reserve currencies in other free trading countries that have a market, a free trade market type of system. So they banned the mining specifically because they have a hard time generating enough electricity for their populace, and the crypto mining areas were just gobbling up too much electricity for the mines. So companies that were trading, doing their mining in China, all moved to the United States. It took them about a month, and they left China and got reset up here in the United States in some favorable situation. So that was good. Okay, we're back up and running. Good. I'm glad it didn't stop in the middle of an article. All right, Robert. Let's go on to our next subject. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk right now about another flavor of cryptocurrency that is trying to be pushed out to the world. It's kind of an odd bird because this one here is, Millicent is the name of the company. They just tested a new, what they call full reserve digital currency. Now I'm going to talk about a central bank digital currency next, but the full reserve digital currency is their terminology for something that they believe is better than a central bank digital currency. So here's the story. When Bitcoin first came out, they said, we're decentralized, we're not controlled by any Federal Reserve Bank or any country-controlled bank. Therefore, we are independent, and you can rely on us never to increase the supply or not to just whimsically tinker with the marketplace constantly, cause inflation, cause interest rates to go up, crash the housing market, on and on. Those kind of things that are in the news right now, Bitcoin was supposed to stamp out. Well, they've never been able to push over the edge to get countries to adopt them wholesale as a currency, except in some, far-flung reaches of the world. So now what's happening is central banks are realizing that pieces of paper in your wallet are not going to be as versatile or useful as digital items in the digital economy. Like, for example, how many of you carry a whole bunch of cash in your wallet? I haven't carried cash in my wallet for years. I have a little plastic card that gives access to my bank account. I just swipe it at the kiosk and pay for my goods. It takes it right out of my bank account. I never see the greenbacks. So it's a situation where the Federal Reserve in the United States, at least, is looking towards having a digital currency. Okay, so let's put digital currencies, central bank digital currencies, on the back burner for a second. This country says central bank digital currencies are no better than fiat, which is true. They're no better than a fiat currency. So they say that their full reserve digital currency is designed for consumer safety and confidence, okay? So their full reserve digital currency, FRDC, boy, say that one fast and you'll get tangled on that, I'm sure. They're privately issued digital currencies. Well, there's a problem with that statement. They're privately issued. How many central banks are going to allow the official currency of the country to be privately issued? That one might be a stretch to believe that a country like this is being tested in the UK right now, that it could actually be adopted by the UK as the digital pound, for example. So it's pegged to a traditional fiat currency. Okay, so what's the difference between this and a stable coin. Except that they say it would be 100% collateralized by liquid cash deposits, meaning deposits that are as easy to get as a regular savings account in a bank. So if you want a digital currency, what you do is you go and you put money in the bank and they issue you the digital equivalent of that currency. So the money stays in the bank and you can go spend your digital currency. And when you spent it, of course, that money just moves around. But see, what happens is the bank takes that and keeps it in reserve for the body of all of the currency that has been issued in a digital fashion. Okay. I'm struggling to see at this point the value of this versus the value of a stable coin. Okay. So what they did is they had some use cases. They were able to make micropayments, like a 15.15 pound to a newspaper article, to pay for a newspaper article. They were able to use a QR code with their application. They were able to send a high value peer-to-peer payment. I know I struggle when I want to go buy a car, and I can't just give them my debit card to go buy a car. Go figure. I got to go write an old-fashioned check because my bank has a limit on how much I can spend in a day on my debit card. So that can create problems. Well, this would allow you high-value peer-to-peer payments and that's obviously a good thing. They do have a mobile app. They have what they call a custodial wallet and a non-custodial wallet. A custodial wallet is something you'd have like at a Coinbase or a bank in this case. A non-custodial wallet is a wallet that you keep and manage yourself instead of letting somebody else manage that. Okay? So they want to try to differentiate themselves between stable coins and this. They feel that this, because it's not going to be on a free market exchange, or maybe it will be. I don't know. They don't say in the article whether it'll be on an exchange. If it's on an exchange, it would always be pegged at the value of the fiat currency. It's interesting or difficult for me to really see that this is much different than a stable coin that would be 100% backed by securities and cash. Okay, so it is privately issued. So there's really not much more to say. This is kind of a weird bird that just came up. They did their first test. It's not been accepted anywhere. It's just an idea. And of course, all the cryptocurrencies are just ideas. So this is the end of this topic. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't done already. If you like this segment, hit the like button, and we'll go on to our next topic here shortly. Thanks. Okay, did we get any questions? Nope. Looks like we're free of questions at this point, so let's get into our next topic.
This will be the final one for the day.
Because of time?
Yep.
All right. Now, speaking of China, China is really quite a bit along in their development of the central bank digital currency, or the digital yuan. Now, what they call it is the ECNY. Okay, I'm not quite sure what CN stands for, but the ECNY is the electronic yuan. And so the digital yuan is the Chinese government's take on a central bank digital currency. Although it's still in a pilot stage, it has seen millions of transactions throughout the country already. So what's happened here is, China is a large country, and they're piloting the digital yuan. And this particular airdrop, now an airdrop by definition is when wallets receive cash that they didn't actually go and purchase, or wallets receive coin that they didn't actually purchase. So they basically advertised that there was going to be an airdrop. There was going to be an airdrop in the city of Shenzhen, and so Shenzhen had the city people sign up. So those people who wanted to use the digital yuan, they signed up for a chance at receiving an airdrop to their wallets. And then they signed up several retailers that they would allow to actually have purchases done at their particular establishments. So the event ran from May 30th to June 19, attracted 67,000 merchants that would take the digital yuan, and they randomized it through a lottery selection that they then would just choose which wallets actually received the yuan, and then they dropped it. Now, the reason for this is similar to the CARES Act in the United States, where our federal government sent money to each of our checking accounts or checks to us so that we could survive the coronavirus lockdowns. So basically what they used it for was that same thing, to stimulate their economy, especially in areas that had been hardest hit by lockdowns. Now understand, China locks down when there's 1 or 2 cases of coronavirus in the whole city. They're very, very, very sensitive to the virus being out in the wild, so they clamp things down pretty quickly. So they're planning on expanding those test sites from 11 currently up to 23 are already underway, and they're going to, it looks like they're going to do the city of Tianjin, and it's already possible to take out a loan or pay for public transportation using the digital yuan. So there's a country that is farther along with their digital currency. Now, this one is a central bank issued digital currency. At this point, it's the ability of the Chinese government to print out as many digital coins as they want. In other words, have wallet, will get money. So, once people start really getting inclined to use it, after a while, they'll be able to get paid from their employers in the digital yuan, similar to the way we'd have, direct pay to our bank accounts. It would just be direct pay to your particular wallet address, whether you keep it in your phone or in a custodial wallet on an exchange or any of those types of situations. So here you basically have the equivalent of the fiat currency that's running around in paper being the same as a digital currency in a wallet on your phone and being taken at retailers around your area just as though you had the paper cash. So this is the way China is handling it right now, and it'll be an interesting to see what news makes it out of China as to the success or failure of their projects. So that is our last topic of the night. So if you'll please, everybody who's here still, give me an entry going back and coming back to me, and this is what we'll take as our final attendance record, okay? And we'll get you credit for it tomorrow. Now, after I post grades tomorrow, would you please go check? And if somehow we've missed you, my greatest apologies. Take a picture of the chat window to show where you logged in and where you didn't, where you also logged in at the end, to kind of show what. I love it, Paige. How'd you get booches? That's an interesting one. Is that the name of a puppy? Maybe. Anyway, be interesting. So
I have one last question there, if you'd like to.
Informational sessions, and thank you, Vanessa.
Andrew Lewis.
Andrew Lewis. Is it the same or just fiat-backed crypto? I assume you're referring to the digital CDB, digital bank, digital currency.
Specifically,
If that's the case, then it's a little bit different in the respect that you just have a central bank saying it's good money. Go spend it. It's not at all like a stable coin where you've got currency in the background backing it up. It's probably not backed any more than our regular greenbacks are backed, because right now the money that you put in your wallet that says it's $100 bill does not have $100 worth of silver or gold or anything backing out of it, other than the good faith and promises of the federal government. And that's what it even says on the bill. So do understand that digital currencies aren't going to be any different than that when a central bank issues it. So I don't know. Bitcoin for me, I guess, at that point. So okay, League of Legends doesn't want me to have fun. Explain that one, Paige. What's League of Legends?
It's I'm guessing Booches is a character from League of Legends. Just a video game.
Oh, a video game. Oh, it's personal. Okay, very good. Nick Smith. We've all been hit with the ban hammer at some point. Okay. Have you been banned, Ira? Okay. It's a video game I've been banned from like 3 times.
Well, stop hacking.
That's a gamer tag. Okay. Thanks, Paige. I appreciate you sharing that with us. I really do. Okay. All right. I'm going to, if everybody's, told me that you're here for the end, hey, we'll see you next week. Enjoyed it. We'll look forward to talking to you again next time. Bye.